Boom, 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 boom. Trying to change the chat from members only. I didn't realize. All right. No, I think it's better. Chat. Nice. All right, perfect. How you doing, neurologist specialist? Parkot, hey, how you doing? Gonna wait another few minutes. Basically, I want to go over the Middle East conflict, talk about how it will affect the markets overall, how it will affect oil prices, and the overall outlook of the area moving forward, and why all of that is important to know and everything. This was, out of the blue, but happy to have you guys here. Mark, I'm so glad to catch you live. Can you talk about Microsoft if you get a chance? Thanks a lot. Microsoft, I went a bit into detail about tech stocks in today's YouTube video as well. So, you could check that out. All right. So, this will be a quick explanation of what's going on in the Middle East. And I want to give you guys a background of the different parties in play and what that means for the stock market. Okay, so this is really the most important thing. So, number one, we have Israel. Israel is the Jewish state in the Middle East that obviously is, newly made, and it is, the main attraction point in the media currently. So, one of the main things that you need to know for the Middle East in terms of Islam and Muslims, there's two main sects in Islam. There are the Sunnis and the Shias. So the Sunnis are the majority, the Shias are a minority, and they also do not like each other. There are multiple countries in the Middle East that are ruled by Shia, that are funded by Iran, and then there are multiple countries ruled by Sunni Muslims, similar to Christianity with Catholics and the Orthodox Church. So, basically, the reason why this is really, really going to end up affecting the overall stock market is because Iran is a very, very large, heavily populated country in the Middle East, essentially, with completely ruled by Shia. And Iran ends up funding the other Shia countries within the Middle East. So a lot of war recently has been done via proxies. For example, the U.S. and Russia, basically, we would be going to war using other countries as um, proxies for the battle. So, for example, when Russia invaded Afghanistan in the 70s, the U.S. was providing Afghanistan with weapons. So, um, similarly, right now, right, the countries in the Middle East, primarily ruled by Shia leaders, are Yemen, part of Yemen, um, Lebanon, and Syria. So these are obviously all countries either right next to Israel or, you know, in major points that have to do with shipping and everything. So these are all countries within the area. Saudi Arabia, Iraq, Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, UAE, Oman, all of these countries, Jordan, all of these countries are primarily Sunni. So what is going to end up causing a spike up in oil, which is the reason why we're already long oil, and which is another reason why oil has been skyrocketing, is Iran is funding Lebanon. It's funding Syria. It's funding the Houthis in Yemen. So these are going to be the first. Basically, Lebanon currently is the first front of the war in this the phase after basically Israel wanted to attack Gaza. The phase after basically you know um, attacking in Gaza is starting the phase in Lebanon. So Lebanon, they started to bomb Lebanon, and they are essentially trying to move their forces in. We know that the Israeli army has had a lot of difficulty with Hezbollah in Lebanon. They have lost many battles to them, especially when it came to ground incursions. When Israel doesn't have the technological when it doesn't have the technological advantage in terms of air force or technology in terms of their intelligence, when it comes to ground level combat with the Shia Lebanese army in the Hezbollah, they cannot really compete that well. So that's a major problem for the Israelis currently, is because right to their north is a major adversary. The immediate areas next to Jordan, it isn't a huge problem. Jordan is not, actively attacking. Neither is Egypt. The only side, the main side, is Lebanon. So that is one front. The other front is this is probably going to be one of the major reasons why oil prices increase. So Iran, not only are they supporting and funding Lebanon, they're also going to be continuing to fund the Houthis in Yemen. So they actively attack Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia is a major supplier of oil around the world. This conflict alone, once this trickles into, because the main end goal for Israel is to destroy Iran. And to do that, you need to basically cut off pieces and then head for the head of the snake. So I don't personally think that we're going to end up seeing a war with Iran where Israel launches a full-blown assault on them. I don't think that occurs unless the U.S. gets involved in the war. So currently, Israel is just going to continue to attack these countries nearby. They're going to continue to, just do what they can to get as much land as possible, get some sort of battles or incursions, and that's what they're essentially going to be doing. I don't think that we're going to be going to war with Iran anytime soon, unless the U.S. gets involved. That's not going to happen. most likely unless Trump gets elected. Trump just recently had a meeting in Israel with Ben Shapiro. They were wearing the yarmulke, and they were in Israel. So obviously Trump heavily supports Israel. The Democratic Party, oddly enough, I don't believe they would be inclined really for an all-out war. Biden and the Biden administration were actually trying to create normalization with Iran and Saudi Arabia, and they wanted to remain in contact. So there's less of a chance that we'll go to all-out war with Iran if a Democrat is in power, oddly enough. And oddly enough, whereas the first 4 years of Trump's presidency, he was against war, because him and especially Elon and him are both really, really pushing for support to Israel. If Israel wants to go to, like, basically, Iran is the main target for Israel. Once Iran is basically taken out, Israel already has a really good relationship with these other neighboring countries. So they're pretty solid. The leaders of these countries are not, attacking them. The Saudi Arabian leadership, the Egyptian leadership, Jordanian leadership, everyone is very close to Israel. Once Iran is taken out, then they don't really have that much of an issue in the area. So specifically, once Yemen and Saudi Arabia start to have battles, the price of oil is going to skyrocket. Now, it's going to be a fine line of who is going to attack when that occurs, etc., etc. But most likely, Israel is so oddly enough, about an hour ago, Israel, I guess there's reports of blasts in Iran. So that is, I'm assuming, going to be from Israel. Nothing really confirmed yet. There was just one post saying that it was nuclear facilities. Who knows? But so basically there's definitely some odd. I mean, during the presidency of like Ahmadinejad in Iran, there was, I believe he told, or there was like an interview that he did, that I think the majority of his cabinet, or there was like a certain amount of people in his immediate team that were members of Mossad. So Israel is definitely, you don't have such a terrible enemy in the area without getting some sort of intelligence on them. We know that Israel has a very, very, very high quality intelligence. They're ranked very, very high in the world compared to the CIA, KGB, etc. So the Mossad is very, very good in that regard. So I guess they are using some sort of tactics of, not a direct missile assault on Iran currently. So, but yeah, once Yemen starts to really attack Saudi Arabia, and once we see a war in this area, it's going to really cause the price of oil in general to really, really skyrocket. And yeah, oil is already starting to do really well. And we've been long oil as well. So thankfully, it's going to just continue doing well. I believe that crude oil is going to retest at least to 85. And this is going to really, really bounce, in my opinion. So, especially, this is prior to any invasion. This is prior to any real invasion on the ground or anything like that, especially with Israel and Lebanon. Once boots hit the ground, and especially if boots hit the ground in Yemen and Saudi Arabia, it's really, really going to be a huge issue for the entire region. It's going to be a huge issue for oil prices overall in the world. And yeah, it's going to be fun. Let's read the chat. Farhan, fascinating stuff. Islam Muhammad, Islam. Did he have bad trades today and now he's becoming a reporter? Did he have bad trades today and now he's becoming a reporter? Robin, hi Hamid, how you doing? No trade education. What's your name? What is this guy's name, brother? I don't even know. Oh well. Joke's on you, 10 for 10 today. Yes, sir. The podcast performance, this is live. Thank you. Thank you so much. So, anyway, that is going to really increase the price of everything. So, in my opinion, it would make the most sense for Israel to really push for a basically to lobby for a president that's going to want to go to war with Iran. And as we know, the Biden administration was trying to create good ties with Iran, and they didn't want to go to war with them. Whereas Trump, he even started to blame Iran for the attempts on his life. And there's already going to be news and things of that nature of Iran like smuggling weapons into the U.S., etc., etc. So, it seems as though they really want to push for a war with Iran, and it makes the most sense once this country is basically out of the equation. They are completely in the clear for I don't see how Lebanon would defend itself. I don't see how any of these areas would really defend themselves once the main funding source is gone. But another really interesting problem now, based not even including like just the Sunni Shia, everything like that. Russia is allied with Syria, and Russia has ties to Syria. And once Israel basically takes over Lebanon and starts to move into Syria, that's going to be a huge problem that might involve Russia. And if Russia gets involved, then the U.S., if it's not already involved, will get involved as well. And then that could pull in China. And then that could basically, all of this in general here can essentially this can essentially start World War III. And yeah, that's going to be pretty interesting to see how things turn out in the next few years. So most likely, the way things are going, we're going to get a war if Trump gets into office, especially since Musk is also a big supporter of Israel as well. And both of them are really pushing for a win together. And yeah, it makes sense. So like Israel is doing what they have to do, but in the process it's going to most likely cause a very large war. So yeah, I guess that's about it for this for now. We're seeing that there's reports of the explosion. There's small factions of basically like remnants of Shias in all of these countries as well. Even in all of these Sunni countries, there's Shias living here. So, especially because the Houthis and because Iran, because these Shia countries are the countries that are attacking Israel, the Shias living in these Sunni countries, as well as the Sunnis living here, are starting to favor Iran and the Houthis a bit more. They're starting to say, okay, they are the ones attacking. So, not only are the Sunni countries here basically also sort of, they might lose public opinion, is what I'm essentially saying. They might lose positive public opinion for their citizens if they don't start to basically be harsher on Israel based on their treatment of the Palestinians. So Iran and Yemen, the Houthis were even attacking the ships and the containers and everything like that. So these are the only countries immediately that these are the only countries immediately that are attacking Israel. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how all of this turns out. And yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense for Israel. These Sunni countries also would want Iran and Yemen to also not be ruled by Shias either. Definitely not Syria and Lebanon and everything. They don't want these countries to be ruled by Shias. So, and they definitely want control over their population. So they would completely be in favor of, they're Saudi Arabians and Yemenis are already at war. They're already battling. They've been at war. So it's going to be heightened. It's going to be much, much more heightened. And especially Saudi Arabia with Iran, it's not going to be that positive either. So that's really that, honestly, for this entire conflict, how this is going to impact the oil once Israel sort of takes out these branch proxy countries. Then, if Trump is most likely going to get into office, we're going to go to war with Iran. And the U.S. there's already 40,000, 50,000 soldiers, and there's new Air Force aircraft carriers moving into the area as well. There's already U.S. soldiers moving into the area. So in the next few months, if things get even more bad and Iran starts to really attack and things start to get really, really bad, if if terrorist attacks happen or something like that, and we find out that it's Iran, then it's going to really cause a reason for the U.S. to want to be involved in a war. So, yeah, these next few years are most likely going to be, I don't see how it's not, unless Israel takes a break and Israel pushes the brakes a bit. But I don't see why they would, especially if there's going to be a president that's going to want to go to war. So just speaking purely out of that, I'm not talking about his domestic politics or immigration and things like that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about specifically just war with Iran and how that's going to most likely really, really impact the price of oil. But yeah, I'm rambling as well because this is the first time I'm doing this in probably a year and a half. So yeah, man, I'm just gonna continue talking and hopefully things I just become better at it, and we figure out more things to talk about on a more regular basis, and there will be more updates and things to chime in on and commentate about the market and things of that nature as well. Yeah, not to mention, Pakistan has a lot of Shias as well, and this is a neighboring country to Iran as well. Mm-hmm. Mm-mm-mm. So yeah, that's that for that topic. Does anyone here watch the UFC? UFC 308. What is that one? Okay, so I guess I'll give my thoughts and for each of these fights. So um yeah, so for this, I think Shara is gonna win. For the lightweight between Ankalaev and Rakic, I think it's really messed up that they made Ankalaev fight Rakic, and essentially Rakic just lost to Jiri Prohaska, so he's coming off a loss, and he ends up getting to fight the number one contender. So that sucks for Ankalaev because this is another risk. If he loses, then Rakic becomes the number one contender essentially, and he's risking a fight against someone who doesn't deserve to be that be fighting. So, but I believe Ankalaev is still gonna win. I believe LeBron Murphy is going to win, and then over here, these two fights are gonna be very, very interesting. So, with Whitaker and Chimaev. So, two of the biggest issues is that number one, Chimaev is not with his original coaching team. So, because he's not with his original coaching team, that might, especially the team that got him into, MMA, that is not the case. But a plus side of that is he is heavily, heavily focused on wrestling, and currently he's training with Satiev, who is one of the highest ranked wrestlers from Russia ever, and he's known to be one of the best wrestlers ever. So he's training with Khamzat at the moment, and multiple Olympian, multiple gold medal Olympian, everything. So Khamzat is training with someone like that, but he hasn't fought, so he hasn't had that strain in terms of getting ready for a fight camp, getting ready for a fight. He is still rusty, and that is going to be basically the main reason why I don't think it's going to be as easy. If he was still in the groove, and if he was still 5 months, he just fought 5 months ago, 6 months ago even, and he's going to fight Robert Whitaker, 100% I would think that he walks through him. But maybe not walk through him, but I don't believe Robert Whitaker even has the he does have good takedown defense. He's good on the ground, etc. Robert Whitaker is Robert Whitaker, but I think that Hamzat's wrestling is so good that I think that he could finish the fight within 3 rounds regardless, because that's, first of all, we need to know if Khamzat has a gas tank. Most likely it doesn't seem like he does because of his lung injury and things of that nature. I don't know for sure, but so he needs to finish the fight within 3 rounds. I think the discrepancy in the ground game gives Khamzat that advantage, where I do think that he could finish the fight early. And yeah, so I don't think that Robert Whitaker will be able to stuff or really do anything. I think that Khamzat is going to just ragdoll him. So I don't really think, if they were both active, Khamzat would have walked through him. But Robert Whitaker is more active currently, and for that reason, man, it makes the fight so much more closer, and that just sort of sucks. So it's kind of tough to say who's gonna win. There's more things going against Khamzat, but there's the wrestling that goes against Robert Whitaker, and I think Khamzat takes it. And then for the main event, Ilia Topuria versus Max Holloway. So Max Holloway is going down a weight class from 155 after he just won against Gaethje. Ilia Topuria has really good. He's good overall. He's a good fighter, but Max Holloway does not have any like notable ground game. He's not a knockout puncher. He's more of a frequency puncher, and then eventually just he has a really good gas tank, and he has a chin, and he punches a lot. But he doesn't have ground game. And Ilia Topuria, I don't even think that Ilia Topuria would have beaten Volkanovski. If Volkanovski took some time off to heal, I don't believe Ilia Topuria would have even beaten Volkanovski. So, we already know that Max Holloway can't beat Volkanovski, but in terms of this fight, this isn't really a good fight for Max Holloway. I mean, like, we didn't think that, a lot of people didn't think that Max Holloway would win against Justin Gaethje. But that ended up happening. But Ilia Topuria is fresh. He has a better ground game. He's never been knocked out. He doesn't have the same injuries as Gaethje did. That might have also been a reason why Max Holloway might have chipped away at Gaethje more. But overall, I think that Ilia he's a more well-rounded fighter, but damn, Max Holloway is Max Holloway at the end of the day, so I'm not really sure. This is a really, really tough card overall. It's going to be pretty, pretty fun to watch. Yeah, I'll probably go with Max Holloway. But, yeah. Plan to move Cyrus in a couple of years. Hopefully still there. Yeah, it should be. Let us buy Bitcoin. Go for it. Professor PUBG, should we short or long Rakic? Should short him, to be honest. Rakic is most likely, this is probably going to be the most lopsided fight. Rakic is most likely going to lose. But, yeah. Hopefully, I will give a heads up next time ahead of time. A couple hours ahead of time. The day of. And, yeah, man. Things are going to be really fun. We're going to start doing a lot more of these. And I have a lot. The reason why, essentially, for everyone that's here right now, the reason why I'm really going to be podcasting and everything is because there's a lot of people that I want to come interview. There's no point of me not being good at doing a podcast and then bringing on a really, really cool guest. So I want to, set the foundation, make a good show, get acclimated with doing this sort of stuff, and then have a guest come on board, and then it'd be really, really good. So that's the main thing. So the more I do of these, the faster I get better and figure out everything that needs to be done. And then, the faster we get better guests that we could interview. I could ask a lot of cool people, a lot of interesting things. And then, the podcast will increase. I'll be able to invite more and more guests, more and more bigger names and everything like that will, feel more inclined to come and sit, and then everyone gets to learn from them as well. So I think, yeah, man, it's going to be pretty fun. It's going to be pretty fun. Overall, we had a really, really tremendous trading day. We went 10 for 10. We didn't lose a single trade, which is amazing, thankfully. And, yeah, we're having a really, really amazing October so far. So if you guys want access to the trades that I share, all of the buy and sell signals and everything like that, you guys could gain access to the link in my bio. And yeah, in the channel description and everything like that, I share all of the trades there. I also give access to my trading view indicator. All of that all in one. So that's there. But yeah, this was fun. Things are going to be really, really fun for the next few months. And yeah, this was a nice little episode. Let's see how everything plays out a year from now. It's going to be really, really fun. Thanks for watching. Thanks for tuning in. I really, really means a lot that you guys are spending your Monday night 8:30 here, just sitting and watching. And yeah, man, I hope I was able to help, and I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your night. All right, so have a good one. Thank you.